thank Nagesh for having nominated me as the chairman for IRF 2010. It certainly is my privilege to be able to chair this India Retail Forum. This has been the magnum opus of Indian retail for several years. And I remember the early years when Roy and Amitabh used to tout the IRF. There were a handful of people who used to attend these conferences. And as I think Anish mentioned in the beginning, there were several who came in thinking that it is an opportunity, lesser numbers who participated, believing that they would learn. And I think what we have seen over the years is that the profile of the conference has certainly changed. It's certainly the retail destination stop in India across Asia. It's a conference which has begun to attract people from several parts of the world, and certainly at this point of time, I think India is an interesting place to be in. So there are various reasons why the IRF has got to the level that it is today. Talk about India from the perspective of whether it is a challenge or whether we see India as an opportunity. And I think a lot of us at several times in our lives and at several stages in our careers have actually pondered and wondered whether we should be actually taking the road to the left or the road to the right. And sometimes we've seen the road paved with gold, and sometimes we've seen the road paved with stones. And we've tried to figure out what is the right choice to make, and I think that's a choice that several of us in the retail industry, in India and abroad, have made at times in the past. And I think that's also a choice that those of us who are not in India at this point of time as international retailers will often contemplate, should I or should I not enter India at this point of time. So there are things that we can see. We can talk about the things which, and if you look at it from two different perspectives, on the one perspective, it can be a challenge, and certainly India is a challenge, and from the other perspective, it can also be an opportunity. If you look at it from a macroeconomic perspective, let us remember that 60% of Asia's population, of the world's population, lives in Asia. Whereas on the other hand, only 30% of the world's retail market is in Asia. And a large part of this 30% happens because of Japan, which is a significant contributor to Asia's retail market. 37% of the world's population lives in China and India. And both China and India today, despite all the growth in the retail market in China, contribute only 11% of the world's retail market. So depending on which way you see it, it's a small market, it's a large opportunity, you can often decide where the potential lies. 17% of the world's population lives in India. And India contributes to only 3.5% of the world's retail market. Whereas on the other hand, India contributes to 6% of the world's GDP on a PPP basis. So again here, if you look at it, it's a small market, large population, maybe not worth it, maybe worth it. By 2015, India is expected to contribute to 7.5% of the world's GDP on a PPP basis, which means that we'll be a larger contributor to the world GDP than what we are today. And 10% of the incremental income growth in the world will be generated by India. So again, here what we see is that if we fast forward 5 years, we certainly see a much larger opportunity in India. Growth in India is certainly, I think, an imperative. It is an imperative because India is being driven by rising incomes. So what we are seeing is a much larger percentage of our population is today getting into what we call as the middle class, from making two ends meet to actually enjoying a certain level of comfort. What we are also seeing is that because of the large number of Indians who are less than 25 years of age, we have an advantage in terms of the working age population. And that working age population creates a favorable dependency ratio. Shivnath mentioned about the fact that we have a very high savings rate. And I certainly believe that if you look at both China and India, savings rates tend to be very high. India has got a savings rate roughly in the region of about 35%. And if you look at it from a household savings rate, it's about 23%. 12% is the private sector savings rate and the government savings rate. So what you can see here is that, we are loath to spend. We have a small proportion of our population which actually spends. We have a much larger proportion of our population which saves a lot, because you save when you don't have confidence in your future. And what we are seeing is that with a much younger age group coming into the working age, we are beginning to see a much greater confidence in the future. We are beginning to see 30-year-olds buy apartments, whereas their parents wouldn't have thought of buying an apartment till they were 50-year-old. We are beginning to see youngsters willing to leverage to buy a four-wheeler, whereas their parents would have actually saved to buy a four-wheeler. What we're also beginning to see is an increasing level of urbanization. Today we are roughly in the region of about 30-31% of urbanization. And what we believe this will be in the next 15 years, we are likely to be about 45 to 47% in terms of urbanization, according to the McKinsey study. We're also beginning to see growing aspirations of Indian consumers. People who want to buy more, people who want to buy what's available in the rest of the world, consumers who want to share the lifestyles of people who are there in the rest of the world. And I think that's something else which is going to be driving India. And of course, all of that hopefully will increase consumption levels, and we as retailers look to benefit from increasing consumption levels. If you look at it from an international retailer's perspective, certainly I think India is a huge opportunity and an important imperative for all of them. Faced by stagnant markets in Europe and the US, where growth is hard to come by and where every percentage point is fought bitterly, I think India is a nascent opportunity waiting to be grabbed. We have an increasing work age dependency issue as far as Europe and Asia, Europe goes, certainly not America to the same extent, where we have lesser number of working age people supporting a larger number of people who are not working, who are either below 15 or who are above 65 years of age, which by itself places a lot of pressure on the government in terms of its economic pressures, in terms of its ability to be able to spend on its population. We have slowing economies, and if you look at all of the economies in the US, if you look at the US and if you look at all of the economies in Western Europe, you are beginning to see growth rates which are in the region of maximum 1-2% to negative. And you're also beginning to see reducing consumption levels because of shrinking populations. But India is not without its challenges. It's not a market to be able to walk in and believe that you can actually create a success in this market. It is a continent in disguise. It's like having one Europe with several countries within itself. There is diversity in terms of income, education, and attitudes. The kind of food that people eat in the north and the south, the east and the west, those who live near the coast and those who live inside, those who live in urban India and those who live in the villages, is so different that when you begin to look at India as a consuming population, you realize that you have to actually tailor-make your offering depending on which part of the market you want to cater to. The difference between urban and rural, while it is very glaring in the beginning, is certainly diminishing over time. And what we can see is that today, because of migration from rural into urban, we are beginning to see differences actually dimming and the aspirations actually being reasonably similar between, let's say, urban youth, large city youth, small city youth, as well as in villages. Media has certainly helped to be able to bridge the difference. We often face challenges in terms of distribution. Distribution in terms of making sure that you can get your products to the consumers who live in the smaller towns and in the villages of India, and challenges in terms of being able to get produce from villages in India up to the larger towns and to the stores. So there are challenges that you see there in terms of distribution. Nagesh mentioned about employees, and he talked about the fact that how difficult it is getting to be able to even attract those who've not passed the 10th standard. And that's the irony of the whole thing. You have about 270 million students who don't get beyond the 10th standard, who abandon education at the 10th standard level. Only 10% of our student population actually study beyond the 10th standard. Yet, on the other hand, when you want to look at people in terms of employees for your stores, you can't seem to get enough people to be able to fill the needs of your stores. So that's another issue that we all have. And in all of this, what you can see is that there are challenges. It's not that you don't have the numbers. You have 270 million students, yet on the other hand, you don't have enough people. So there are challenges as well as there are opportunities, and depends on which way you would see it. And I think this is a time in India when, if you look at the inflection curve, we are poised at the right point of time for somebody to be able to ride that wave. And when we look at ourselves in the retail industry, what we see for ourselves is a stage in several other industries which have been there in the past, which have experienced significant and explosive growth. What you can see here is that the number of people who are flying on the airline industry has quadrupled over the last 12 years. This again is a change which has been brought about because of the fact that you took one airline to create a paradigm shift in terms of pricing, and consequently what we saw is a much larger number of people taking to flying than what they used to do in the past. And that one airline made a significant change. So when you look at all of these, here are examples of industries which have actually captured that wave and gone on to ride a fortune. I don't even want to talk about the mobile phone industry, which was about 1.5 million in terms of subscribers 13 or 15 years back, and today is about 600 million in terms of subscribers. So there are several opportunities in India. The point is that you need to construct a business model which will be relevant to them. You need to construct a business model which will be appropriate to the target customer that you want to serve. You want to construct a business model which will differentiate you from another outlet which is there in the marketplace. And if I look at it, I think the market size is not restricted by demand, but it is restricted by the imagination that all of us bring to this market. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.